Ilang araw na?
24 days.
24 days tomorrow is his birthday.
Yes.
I cannot promise you tomorrow, but I will, what I can promise you is that I can get him within the next 72 hours. I will demand for his release. Hindi lang kasi ako, because itong mga NPA naman, I do not think, what's the use of keeping a person who stays na wala naman? So what I can assure you is that I will demand for his release, if not tomorrow, within the next 72 hours. You'll hear from him. Ako ayaw ko naman ako rin. Baka sabi ko na ko sila, but it's not good anymore to keep a husband away from his family. I'm appealing to the NPAs to release Warden Colonial, not because he's a government employee, but because the family, and gobyerno naman walang puso yan, does not feel anything but for its agents. Ang pamilya ang at may ailment yung asawa niya, diretsuhon ka na lang mong NPA. I want the warden released within the next 72 hours. Tomorrow is his birthday. If you can make it tomorrow, fine. I'd like to thank you. But if not, within 72 hours. Otherwise, I'll be forced to go to you. At dalhin ko asawa niya, pati anak niya. O di magsama-sama na sila hostage doon. Mamili kayo. Dalhin ko yung pamilya doon o ibalik ninyo yung asawa, the father. I hope I have made myself clear today. Kuha ko lagi. Pakuha ko yan. Sige, iyak daw.
Okay, Mayor, yung sa accounts naman ng NPA sa kanilang accusations kay Sir Coquilla, ano yung masasabi niyo?
May
Alam mo,
harassment.
I do not think that, I'm not saying that it is a lie, but what I'm saying is that it has not been proven. And the right to be heard, very important. In government, outside, or even in private persons, you make accusations. There's always the right to be heard. It's a very important right of every individual. Buhay na ninyo. Buhay na ninyo. Kapoy na.
Ma'am, ano yung reaction niyo, ma'am, sa binigay na 72 hours ni Mayor para sa NPA?
Very thankful ako kay Mayor.
Huwag kang matakot siya.
Sana i-release na nila.
Yung mga bulan sila dito, kaya busy ako. Sabi ko, be here.
Apektado na akong mga anak. Daghan sila absences ang akong anak na nagtrabaho sa bangko, nag-resign na. And dili na ko gusto mo balik ang akong skemya tungod sa akong kaguol o pag-una sa akong husband. Kanus makabalik sa mua. Unta irigalo nila sa mua ang iyang birthday o January 18. Please. Salamat.
Kamong NPA na wadag trabaho yung anak. Wadag trabaho kung mahatag trabaho. All vision for my country. It has nothing to do with any ambition. Alam mo kasi, our country is really in trouble. Sa ngayon, both economic, social, political. Yung trabaho namin, ako pati si Governor Pinor, the one standing there, in orange here. Ito yung generation na gusto namin tumulong. Dito sa atin ngayon, sa generation namin, pati generation ninyo, we want to give you a country that's peaceful, so that you can move on. We have been wrapped with politics of corruption, and because of maybe of the short-sightedness of our leaders, until now, Mindanao is in trouble. Wala na masyado yung pera, but I talk to you about territory and corruption money, the corrosive influence of corruption. Dito sa Mindanao, matagal na itong away na ito. It did not start with this government, with the government of Ramos, or even the government of Cory Aquino. It started way back. Noon matagal na. It's the longest insurgency fight, hindi alam ng tao. But it has taken its toll from the Spaniards to the Americans. In 1946, the Republic given us by the Americans, and until now. 1521, Magellan landed in the Philippines, somewhere in Limasawa. Sabi nila, wala akong problema nung dumating si Magellan when he brought down the cross of Christianity. As a matter of fact, religion is something very sensitive in this country, and everyone else, everybody is into it, and they are fighting, killing people in the name of God. So ayaw ko muna yan, debatehin yan. But the problem is, when he went down from ships, he planted the cross, binaba niya yung mga cannons niya, binaba niya yung gunpowder, binaba niya yung mga muskets, and the soldiers known as the conquistadores. So later on became the Guardia Civil. Ang problema, which was really the biggest blunder that anybody committed in this development, sabi niya, I now proclaim these islands in the ownership of the King of Spain. I really do not know how they did it. I wasn't there, so I wanted to be there. Sana. Kasi sinabi nila, all of this island shall be known as the property of King Philip. And everyone in these islands shall be known as Filipino after King Philip, so the subject or the subjugated people. Dito sa Visayas, I think, malayo pa kasi ang Mindanao, they were able to convince, although on bended knees, kasi may mga parilin, nakuha nila first time mga Visayas, Leyte, Cebu, Bohol. And at that time, I think also, wala naman kasi silang mga Diyos-Diyos. What they have, the deities, yung mga kahoy, mga balite, they are our fathers for really that religion-wise. But they had a thriving civilization. Wala nga ng reliyon. So pagdating yan, inubos ng mga Espanyol yung lumaban, and they were able to reach the shores of Manila to complete the control of the country. At that time, they imposed the unitary type of government, the very same style that we have now. It's really for control. And they began to slice the island into pieces, pinakamahusay na maganda na lupa, binigay nila noon, that known as the friar lands. So yung mga pare ng mga priest, may mga tenants sila, kaya na agrarian reforms. And they made the natives work there, and they had to pay homage, both in religion, pati in taxation. So lahat noon, puro tawag nila na tenants. There was one huge land owned by one man, being used by the players. Wala rin ako doon sa ano. Ang problema nito, yung unitary type of government was perpetuated even after the Spaniards came. Tumira sila dito for 300 years. And that's very painful to think. Masakit yan. Tapos the Americans, by the Treaty of Paris, because they lost the American-Spanish War, Yung sabi sa Diwi yung Boulevard ng sa Diwi, winaskag na yung mga warships ng Spain. But actually, that conflict covered a wider kasalan at kasama na ang rebellion sa Spain and the Marianas Island. Punta kita sa Guam, ang mga pangalan niyan, Spanish name. Nung dito sa Pilipinas, we were ceded by the Treaty of Paris sa ariglo nila na Pilipinas ibigay sa Amerika. The Americans stayed for 50 years. Then, when they decided to give us the freedom, so in 1946, binigay nila sa atin the same setup. They have the House of Representatives, Congress, but they did not give us the federal type of government from where they came from. Federal type naman yung Amerikano. Bakit nila binigay sa atin? But because of control. Why? Because in that constitution that they granted us in 1946 contained the parity amendments, giving the Americans the very same right given to the Filipinos to exploit and develop his own natural resources. So laging sila mining, the oldest mining companies now. So binigay sila ganon. Tayo naman tinanggap natin, unitary type. But the Muslims noon resisted the Spaniards. Well, they were able really to reach the shores of Zamboanga. If you look at the map of the Philippines, your right side is the east, ang left side mo is the west. So on that western side, ang pinakamaabot lang nila was Zamboanga. Nilagyan nila ng fourth pillar to stop the inroads of evangelization of Islam. Yun ang purpose doon. Nakipag-away ang Muslim, hindi talaga nila nakuha. Unlike the Philippines, they were able to conquer the entrails of the country. But in Mindanao, which is a contiguous land, hindi nila nakuha. Why? Because at that time of landing si Magellan, ang poste doon, nandoon na, it is Islam. O ganon. So from the Spaniards to the Americans, the Muslims resisted. And then, ngayon, they're fighting this government because it's a continuation of the 1521 conflict. Mga Bisaya, I could not imagine how they would be able to articulate it. Pero ang mga Muslim, nagsabi niya, wala naman kaming problema dito sa Mindanao. Ito sa Mindanao. I don't know what was maybe a series of that. But definitely, we were part of the Sri Visayas Empire of the Malay race. So, ang nangyari, ito, gusto rin naman natin. Sumama kayo sa akin, pagkita ko. Sarili. So, I will invite you.
We would also like to acknowledge the arrival of our media partner from TV5.
We can follow the American version, but it's too, I think yung electoral college, which would really decide who would become president. Yes.
And I want to ask, what's your expectation, or what's your, how can you say about the foreigner? How can we help Davao, and also your plans about federal government?
Is agriculture. Do not dream about industry. We are too far above from that reality. Mahirap lang tayo. Well, right after the turn of the century, we were the first in Asia. Then we become second, then third, and we're now the last. Ang agriculture, maganda sana. Mindanao is not visited as often as the other Bisaya. Walang tumutubo ron. Mindanao is a busybody. Every night, kasi kita ninyo yung highway. It's being used.
If ever, nanatay federal government.
Isaac in Davao and in participation with DMSEC, presents this certification of appreciation to Rodrigo Duterte for being one of the plenary speakers in Leadership and Development Conference held at Finster Auditorium, Ateneo de Davao University on 17th day of January 2015, given the 17th of January 2015 at Davao City, Philippines.